So, welcome everyone to part 3 of our series on embodiment for immunity and resilience. And embodiment is really the moment to moment ability to bring your awareness into your body, to notice your breath, to notice your sensations, and to notice what's happening with your thoughts, with your emotions. And there are two primary purposes for embodiment. The first is just greater regulation of your nervous system, being able to tune in and notice what's happening. And then you have a sense of choice of perhaps some embodiment skill or tool you've learned to do something to help shift your internal feeling state. And then the second purpose for embodiment is it really just helps to build our capacity in our nervous system so that our nervous system can be even more resilient toward bigger and bigger challenges. And just to introduce myself again, I'm Emily Winter. I know everyone who's participating, but since this will be recorded, I'll just introduce myself briefly. I'm a somatic experiencing practitioner living in South Lake Tahoe, California. So many of the embodiment practices we'll do today are from yoga, somatic experiencing, or some mindfulness meditation practices. We'll be bringing those in today. And each week we've been focusing on exploring embodiment through a different part of our bodies, a different area of our nervous system. And this week our focus is going to be on our spine. Now, just for the purposes of our practice together today, we'll consider the spine, the top of the spine, to be the crown of your head, right at the top of your skull, all the way down your back, ending with your tailbone. So through your sacrum and ending with your tailbone, the tip of your tailbone. Now, just want to offer that reminder to all of you that as we're moving through our practice today, it's completely natural to have some discomfort or perhaps some tension come up in your body. So I invite you to just notice that if that happens, invite yourself to take a fuller breath. And if at any point things are too intense, you can just allow yourself to pause, let your gaze travel into the room that you're in, and just bring yourself out of that deep internal experience a little bit so that you can come back to the present moment. I also want to just make a final note here for anyone participating in this webinar who may have limited mobility in your spine, or who might even have spinal fusion, have had some surgery done on your spine to join your vertebrae together. And we'll be doing some movement together at the beginning today. So I just invite you to take care of your body and participate in the exercises just to the extent that it feels comfortable for you, that it feels safe in your body. And if you choose not to join in any of the movement, then I just invite you to try to bring your awareness to the part of the spine that we're exploring in that moment. So let's take a moment just to arrive into this space that we're all sharing virtually. I know you're all likely in a space you've spent a lot of time in recently, but just allow yourself to settle into your chair and let your gaze either travel around your space or maybe just soften toward your lap if you're feeling relaxed. Bring both of your feet onto the floor so the soles of your feet are connecting and you have that source of stability underneath you. Now, just allow yourself a few moments here to let your body start to settle into your seat. Feel the chair underneath you. And bring your attention also to the areas where your back is supported. So if you're sitting in a chair that has a back, just allow yourself to be held by the back of the chair, letting your back relax. And if you don't have a back on your chair, then just notice how much your spine can stack, bringing your shoulders over your hips, and just letting your shoulders soften a little bit with each exhale. So we will be exploring our spine today. And there's a lot of different parts to the spine running up and down the center of your back. And we'll have the chance to explore sensation in 33 bones, in over 100 joints, up to 176 joints, depending on how you count them. We'll also be sensing into these squishy discs in between each vertebra that serve as shock absorbers for each one of your vertebrae. And finally, we'll also be exploring the neural tissue, the connective tissue of your spinal cord. It runs down through the spine and has these incredible nerves that branch out all along the front of your spine and go to all of your different organs and travel all throughout your body. So the spinal cord is really our superhighway for the transfer and travel of information between our brain and our body. The signals are sent in both directions, top down and bottom up. And that happens all in the spinal cord, and then going up to the brain, or from the brain down the spinal cord and out through these nerves into the body. So simply notice how you have come to seated, and if there are any adjustments that you need to make to be a little bit more comfortable. I invite you just to allow your hands to rest in your lap. And you might let one hand hold the other hand just resting there, or maybe the palms of your hands resting on your thighs. Both feet on the floor, letting your gaze lower, or if it's comfortable for you, you can just allow your eyes to close. Gently start to move your shoulders up toward your ears. And then slowly relax your shoulders away from your ears, opening up across the front of your chest a little more. Find a few more shrugs, moving slowly. We'll begin just with a little movement sequence today with the spine and the structures around the spine. So we can bring more sensation online to our awareness. And also begin to open up some tense areas, maybe relieve some tension. You might continue to lift and lower your shoulders, or you can find small rolls, drawing your shoulders forward and up, and then gently together and down on your back. So opening across your heart. As you move through your shoulders, notice your breathing. And try not to force your breath to lengthen, but simply invite your breath to begin to slow down. And maybe one more roll or shrug with your shoulders. And then just let your shoulders soften away from your ears. Let your lower jaw unhinge from your upper jaw, so your lower jaw can just relax a little away. And then slowly begin to lower your chin toward your chest. And keep your shoulders where they are. We'll gently stretch our neck. Letting your gaze soften toward your lap. Continuing to lengthen your breath Can you sense the crown of your head reaching forward slightly, lengthening your cervical spine, the spine that's in your neck, perhaps creating a little more space between those vertebrae? Keeping a soft quality with your neck and shoulders, gently begin to roll your head over to the left. So just allowing your head to reach over to the left. So you're lengthening the right side of your neck. Again, just going to your own degree here, whatever feels the most comfortable for you. Again, here, noticing if the crown of your head can just reach a little up and to your left, helping to lengthen your spine as you're getting a little side bend in your neck. Let's find one more long breath. And then slowly begin to lower your chin back down toward your chest. Pausing for a breath there, keeping shoulders soft. At your own pace, gently begin to roll your head a little bit to your right, lengthening through the left side of your neck. Keeping your tongue soft and your jaw relaxed. And ever so slowly begin to lower your chin back down to the center of your chest. And using an inhale, gently lift your gaze, bringing your head back up to neutral. From here, we'll come away from the back of our chairs just slightly so that you have to sit up a little taller, stacking your shoulders above your hips. Still want both of your feet to be resting on the floor here. So we'll do some mini cat-cows, just starting to wake up the spine, creating some more space in our back body. So taking a full breath in, gently start to lift your heart toward the ceiling. Your shoulders can just relax down your back as your chest lifts. Continuing to breathe here as you find a little arch. If it's okay in your spine, you might arch a little more into your low back, letting your tailbone flare out behind you. Using an exhale, gently start to create the opposite shape, rounding in your spine, drawing your navel in gently, rolling your shoulders forward. And then let's begin to move a little more rhythmically. So you can link this movement with your breath if you want, lifting your heart as you breathe in, and then rounding your spine as you breathe out. And as you're moving through your spine, can you bring some of your awareness along your vertebrae? Can you visualize your spine curling in different directions as you stretch? And just make your way through two more at your own pace. And we'll gradually meet back in center, just sitting up tall, planting both your feet on the ground if they've moved at all as you were doing your cat cows. And sitting up tall here, we'll just find a gentle twist. So letting the spine find that nice spiral all the way up. You can twist to either side, just gently bringing one arm across the back of your chair. Or if you're on a chair without a back, you can just tent your fingertips down on the floor or next to you on the chair to either side. You can look down at your knees, and you want your knees to stay in one line here. So our low back doesn't actually want to twist that much. Most of the twist happens in our middle back, our upper back, and you can even involve your neck here, the spine that's in your neck, relaxing your jaw and moving your gaze slowly in the same direction as your twist. Now, don't twist so deeply here that it cuts off your breathing. Just allowing yourself to stay soft and gentle. As you feel ready, slowly start to unwind, just making your way back to that center line. Staying with your tall spine here, before you twist to the other side, just take a moment to notice how that twist affected your body. If you sense any new sensations, maybe taking a deeper breath. And then at your own pace, you can make your way to the twist on the other side. And once you found your twist in your spine, just gaze down toward your knees and make sure they're both in one line. So you're not twisting too much through your low back. Mostly twisting our ribs, spiraling your shoulders around your spine, and gazing, looking in the same direction as you're twisting. And just noticing your breath. Can you allow your breath to lengthen? Or can you press a little bit more air out as you exhale? Slowly allow yourself to start to unwind, make your way back to center so that you're seated with about equal weight across both of your sits bones. Knees can stack above your ankles, feet gently resting on the ground below you. Now, I invite you to stay with a tall spine, shoulders stacked above your hips. If at any point you feel tired of sitting with your back so straight, then you can just allow your back to rest against the back of the chair, but you might scoot yourself all the way back against the back so that you can keep that long spine. Again, allowing your hands to rest in your lap or palms down on your thighs. Now, I'll invite you now just to soften your gaze down toward your lap, or if it's comfortable, you can allow your eyes to close. Spend a moment just sensing into those places where your legs are connected to the chair, and also feeling where your feet are connected to the floor. And if you're not sensing your feet too intensely right now, then you can just wiggle your toes a little bit, or point and flex your feet. Sometimes just finding a little bit of movement helps us to bring our awareness to that part of the body. So if you're moving, allow your feet just to rest. And again, just noticing where you are supported, where there's that stability underneath you. And I invite you to take a longer breath. And as you breathe out, see if you might be able to relax your legs and your hips 1% more. Just really allowing the chair to do the work and hold you. So this is just a little grounding practice, again, of bringing our awareness down to those structures where we are supported. And from here, we're going to begin some movement with our spine to help us feel more centered and to continue to bring that awareness of our spine online and loosen things up in our backs. So imagining that your body, your upper body, was like a reed of bamboo, just starting to gently sway your upper body from one side to the other. You can also imagine you're swaying your upper body like a pendulum. It's nice and slow and finding a little rhythm. Can you soften through your belly? And so our bodies, as you're swaying here, just invite you to imagine billions and billions of years ago, before we evolved into these mammal, human, amazing bodies, when we were just single-celled organisms floating in the ocean's currents. And then even hundreds of millions of years ago, we had maybe a few cells, little worm-like creatures. Again, all of our movement just controlled by the currents in the ocean. So as you're rocking side to side here, I invite you just to imagine that you were floating in the ocean, and tuning in a little bit to that innate knowing of every cell in your human body, of how to flow side to side, how to create rhythm. And you can continue to sway, or you might even start to create more of a snake-like movement with your spine, letting your neck relax, letting your head become more involved. And I invite you just to kind of explore here what range of movement or what type of movement comes the most naturally to you. Just like our bodies know how to be grounded and connected to the earth, we also just know how to flow in relation to the environment around us. So, can you sense your legs and your feet grounded at the same time that your upper body is creating a rhythmic, flowing movement? And just a few more moments here, taking a fuller breath, rocking your weight. And slowly begin to make your way back to a place of stillness. And you can choose at this point either to stay with a tall spine, your shoulders above your hips, or to let your upper back and your mid back just relax against the back of your chair. So we'll move into a more meditative part of our experience together. So you want to be comfortable, whatever that means for your body. Again, just allowing your gaze to settle, making any little adjustments you might need after that movement to feel more comfortable in your seat. And gradually bringing your body into more and more stillness. And if your back is resting against the back of your chair, then sense into all those places where your back is supported. Feel for the connection between the skin on your back and the surface of your chair. And just gently notice your breathing, inviting your breath to begin to lengthen. And we'll begin to move more into our heart coherent state by beginning to lengthen your exhale 1 or 2 seconds longer than your inhale, which is a very gradual way of inviting your body to relax, inviting your nervous system into a place of greater safety. So just inhaling long and slow, and exhaling slightly longer. Now I'll invite you to bring your awareness to your spine, that long line down the center of your back. And let's first notice the tailbone and the sacrum, and sensing your lower back. And then feeling up through your middle back, up through your torso, one vertebra supporting the next. And sensing into your neck as your shoulders stay soft. And all the way up to the crown of your head, which you might imagine is just slightly lengthening up toward the ceiling. I like to envision a golden thread tied to my hair at the top of my head and just reaching up toward the ceiling. So gently lengthening at the same time that you're grounding through your seat and your back. Well, first we'll just draw some awareness to bones. And I want to offer that if you're not really sensing internally or you can't be sure if you're feeling into your spine or not, then just visualize your spine and visualize these different areas of your spine that I'll talk about. Can you see it in your mind's eye? And first, just noticing your vertebrae, all those bones, one stacking on top of another. And the bones, of course, offer structure and support and stability for your body. But we sometimes think of the bones as being these unliving, hard things, when in fact, Each of those bones is very much alive. It's vascular. So just sensing through the vertebrae, through your skull, through your sacrum, all of those bony structures, imagining their color, their texture, a little softer and squishier than you'd think. And just still taking a long breath in and a full breath out. Now, in between each one of those vertebra is a squishy disc made out of cartilage. And the whole purpose of these is to protect your spine, to absorb shocks and impacts. And so visualize the color and the texture of those squishy discs, kind of like a jelly donut. Gently separating each one of your vertebrae from the other. And I invite you just to notice how your body is responding in this moment to spending this time with your spine. And just touch into that awareness very lightly. Just noticing, are you calmer, more relaxed? Or do you notice something else? Knowing that that's completely fine too. That's part of embodiment, is learning how to just track your own system. And I'll finally invite you to bring awareness to the spinal cord and to the connection points of all these incredible nerves that branch off from your spinal cord into your body, into your organs, down your arms, your legs, to the tips of your fingers and toes. Gently breathing. Just bring your awareness more to the front of your spine, which is about 2 or 3 inches deep from the surface of your back. So guiding your attention a little more deeply inward. And just imagining or sensing for all the nervous tissue, the energy that's moving all the time, up and down through your spinal cord, from your spinal cord to all of your organs. And also that information and energy moves back from all your organs back into your spinal cord or your brainstem. So notice what you sense as you tune in a little bit to your nervous system and that part of your spine. And see how the rest of your body responds to that. Do you notice the further settling? Maybe a little expansion of your shoulders, a softening of your belly or your neck. Maybe some tiny little self adjustments in your spine as you continue to Just lightly touch your awareness into these deeper places. And for our final few minutes here, since we're in this lovely space with awareness internally, we'll continue to move into heart coherence, which is a measurable state of your heart that reflects a resonant and harmonious body and nervous system. And when we're in a state of heart coherence, it's really wonderful for all aspects of our health and relieving stress. So I'll offer the option to bring one hand onto your heart, both hands if you prefer, and gently start to breathe as if you are breathing in and out of your heart. Not forcing the breath, but just allowing your breath to slow. And counting in for 5 or 6 seconds. Counting your exhale for 7 or 8 seconds. Or shorten or lengthen both of those a little bit to your liking. And as you breathe, just notice if you sense your heart beating inside of your chest. And if you can sense your heart beating, then start to count your inhales, 5 or 6 beats as you breathe in, and 7 or 8 beats as you breathe out. If you're not noticing your heartbeat, that's completely fine too. And just count your breath instead. And if you can sense your heart beating here, take the next minute or so and get curious about where else in your body you can sense your heart beating. Maybe in your hand that's resting on your chest, in your arms or shoulders, in your neck or back, along your spine, in your belly, in your hips, and down your legs. And just gently bring your attention back to your heart space, continuing this nice, gentle breathing. And I invite you to bring to mind a time when you felt a deep appreciation or great joy. And this might be a recent memory or from a long time ago. And just spend a moment conjuring that memory up. Cultivating a seed of appreciation or gratitude in your heart. And again, just notice, how is your body responding? What else do you notice happening in the rest of you as you bring your heart into this coherent state? Now, keeping your eyes closed, just bring your attention back to your chair that's supporting your body, feeling where you're grounded and stabilized from below. If your eyes are closed, or even if your gaze is down, gently bring your hands, your fingers to cover your eyes, just lightly providing a little protection from the light in your room. And only as you feel ready, begin to blink your eyelids a few times, keeping your hands across your eyes. And just allowing this to be a really gradual transition back into your room. At some point, you might begin to separate your fingers a little bit, letting in slightly more light, but keeping your gaze down. And only when you'd like to, let your hands release back to your lap and begin to slowly lift your gaze and let it move around your space. Really slowly, just letting the colors and textures come to you. Imagine you're looking at your room from the backs of your eyes, and just letting things gently come in toward you visually instead of jumping out into the room with your eyes. And in your own time, you can start to bring your gaze back to the screen. And we'll take a moment just to stop the recording